one more out. Swinging a ground ball, stabbed by Polk. He has it. He underhands to first, and the Boston Red Sox are the world champions. For the first time in 86 years, the Red Sox have won baseball's world championship.
Welcome in, Red Sox and Braves fans. Doing a special crossover show of our Red Sox Country Radio with Braves Country Radio. As we get the best of both worlds, Red Sox and Braves are about to clash on a little, I can't call it a series, but we'll say a two-game set. I hate these. I really hate these two-game sets. It doesn't feel like a real series. It's like a blip. What's even worse for Atlanta, as we welcome in Sergeant Timus Wooten, Atlanta is coming off a long road trip, T.
Yeah.
On the West Coast, stopping in and playing Boston and Atlanta for 2 games, and then heading back to New York to face the Mets for 3, and then coming back home and face the Cubs next Monday. So what the hell is going on here with I mean, I'm starting to think that we have the same traveling secretary that George Costanza had. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, man. Things are looking up on my side. Getting ready for Mother's Day. I think things are good.
I continue to look younger than my counterparts. You got a gray beard, my man. What's going on there?
I'm on leave. My daughter said, ooh, what's happening there, Silver Fox? I'm going to take it as a compliment. I don't think it was one, though.
I was thinking more of like a hobo.
Yeah, true. I don't have to shave. You know, I have to shave every day when I'm on duty, but I'm taking a little break.
Understood. Hey, there's a lot of benefits to draft dodging, right? I've
been working. It helps work on my sachet, that's for sure.
Speaking of sachets, have you seen the Dodgers? What do you call it? Celebration of when they get a base hit?
No.
Okay. It's so San Francisco, I can't even tell you.
Wow.
It's Key West. They get up. I'm not going to do it because I'm not wearing any pants. No. I'm not going to do it because I couldn't do it justice, because you kind of have to see like the long view of it. You can pull it up on anything, but they get on the base and they kind of get on one leg, and then they do this number, and then they kind of shake around almost like a hula hoop. It is the oddest Key West thing that I've ever seen in a baseball game. But I digress.
Interesting choice, I guess.
And the thing is, they added the twist, because I saw it late last year and I was like, what the hell is this? There's got to be a story behind it. And if I was doing my due diligence, I would find out the story. It's just much more fun to mock the hell out of it.
Honestly, it sounds like a Mookie Betts thing, because he did like the twist in Boston. He would hold his hands up and then twist. So this sounds similar-ish.
I don't know. I know the first time I saw Freddie Freeman do it, it looked like he was being peer pressured into it. And now he does it at will when he gets on base. But the first time I saw him do it was last year, but it wasn't the same version. It was a version of. We didn't see it for long because the Dodgers spit the bit in the playoffs again. But I was like, what in God's name is that? And now there's like a twist to it, literally a twist to it. It's odd. Unfortunately, we saw that celebration a lot this week as we get swept by the Dodgers in Los Angeles. So we come back home after losing 5 of 6 on the road. And the number one thing that I took away from this entire deal. And it's funny that all these fans are raising $300 worth of hell about we should spend more money on pitching and we need to do. Dude, our pitching was fine. Elder's outing Saturday was terrible, but he's been pretty good against the Dodgers. His last two, his two starts prior, he'd given up a total of 2 earned runs. So let's calm the hell down about the pitching. The pitching was fine. Max Fried went 7 strong and 4 earned. You ought to be in the game with the offense that the Braves have, especially against James Paxton, okay, whose walk rate is higher than his strikeout rate this year. But the Braves said, oh, hold my beer. You think he's good? Watch this. Or you think he's bad? Watch this. We're going to throw some zeros up there on the board. Same thing on Friday night. Gavin Stone was the pitcher of record. He had been getting smacked around. All of a sudden, the Braves show up, and he looks like Cy Young. Tyler Glasnow Saturday night, that was just a pitching mismatch. It was Glasnow versus Elder. When I did the preview for this series, I talked about the fact we were going to lose Saturday unless something crazy happened. We should win Sunday because it was Max Fried versus Paxton. That didn't show up because the bats just went ice cold. But all in all, the series was coming down to who won Friday night, and that game went into extra innings. It played out exactly as I thought it would. Braves couldn't score a run, though, with the ghost runner in extra innings, and that's it. They did it the first time in the 10th, but didn't score it again in the 11th, and the Dodgers found a way. And I know everyone's going to say that Andy Paez, I think I was calling it Pages, but it's actually spelt Pages, but it's pronounced Paez, I found out. He went around. We get it. It should have ended the inning, and then he follows that up with the game-winning RBI. I get that, but he didn't score with the damn ghost runner on. So what the hell does it matter? So I got that all out of my system. Our offense sucked. Even the game that we won in Seattle, we had their starting pitcher on the ropes. We still only scored 5 runs in the game. That's not exactly an explosion. So I'm hoping we get back home, we get right. What sucks about it is we got to go right back out on the road and go to New York. But I'm hoping sometime this month we start seeing the Braves offense come back to some kind of semblance. And we've got our 2 best I know you don't want to hear this, but we got our 2 best feet putting forward on Tuesday and Wednesday. It's Ronaldo Lopez on Tuesday, who's been phenomenal. And then, of course, Chris Sale. I mean, you can call it a revenge game. It's not like he had any kind of beef with Boston. It was just a trade. It was time for him to move on, that kind of thing. But what say you? I've taken up enough of the airspace.
Yeah, I'm looking at the pitching matchups for Tuesday and Wednesday, and I'm with you. Why do the Braves and Sox always do a 2-game thing?
They always do.
I don't understand why they do that, but
because we're supposed to be the natural rivals, what they say.
Yeah, but
and they just drew that out of a hat because the Braves and the Red Sox started in Boston. That's the only reason why they're saying that.
170 years ago.
Right. No, I know.
It's good. Pavetta's coming back. That's I'm interested to see.
The Red Sox are the reason why the Braves are called the Braves. A lot of people don't know this. We started out as the Boston Red Stockings, the oldest continuing franchise in baseball, in 1871. When the Red Sox came about and eventually changed their name to the Red Sox, the biggest fear was, along with the Red Legs in Cincinnati, there's going to be a lot of damn confusion on who's who. So that's when they started playing with the names, and they eventually ended up with the Braves.
Yeah, there's a lot of laundry looking around back then for some reason.
Yeah, there's a lot of dirty laundry, kind of like a 2024 election. A lot of dirty laundry out there.
Yeah, they weren't very creative back then.
Yeah, everything was. What team was it I heard the other day were called the Blues because they wore blue? I think it was socks, but maybe it was shirts. Cleveland. It was the Cleveland, now Guardians, went from the Blues to the Naps. And Naps, of course, I've talked about this before on other shows, but Naps was Nap LaHoy was their big player. And back then, it was pretty common or fairly common for the team to name their team about after their best player at the time. So, like, if that was going on in today's world, the basketball team would have been called the Chicago Jordans. It wouldn't have been the Bulls. But eventually, Nap Lahoy, because he was the star in the American League in its inception, he ends up aging and coming at the end of his career, and they go from the Naps, the Cleveland Naps, to the Cleveland Indians. A lot of people, oh, there's racist. No, it's not, because actually, when you took the name away, what you did is you took a gut punch to an actual Native American. They were naming it after their best player, so it went from Nap Lahoy to a guy by the name of Chief Bender, who is in the Hall of Fame, and he was as revered as Ty Cobb was back in those days. And they named the team Chief Bender, or after Chief Bender, and he was very proud of the fact they named him the Indians. And then 100-something years later, some granola eating white chick says, "No, you can't name him that." And his legacy's gone. Great. So there you go.
Seems fair.
Yeah. Because if I've learned anything in this world, it's that 17-year-olds usually know more and are much wiser.
Yeah, I know. I have one.
You should have asked my 17-year-old. Asked what I would have thought about that. Well, of course you'll listen to me. I've had all life experiences.
Yeah. I've done nothing with my life so far, except, maybe graduate high school.
But now the Guardians, what are they? What are they named after? Something about the Guardian of the City, or I don't know.
The Port, I believe.
The what?
The Port.
Yeah, something. Yeah, I remember when it came out. I read it and it went one ear out the other because it wasn't as creative as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
They got that little troll that sits on. There's a bridge somewhere in Cleveland, and these guardians, but they look like trolls, and people are referring to them as devils or demons. But that's what they're supposed to be, as guardians. They sit on the bridge to guard the city. So that's what the name was supposed to come from. But if you go on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, everyone refers to them as the demons, because that thing, that troll that sits on the bridge, looks like a demon.
Well, it's a gargoyle. Yeah.
Right, but it's really devilish. Look, I mean, it's not even like you're what a cute gargoyle. No. This is a Faust type of deal. Like you're thinking you
not a Disney gargoyle or anything.
No. This is more of a Faust situation than it is a Disney. Of course, nowadays more things that come out. Disney might be a little more evil. Who knows? Anywho, back to the rest of the story, as they say.
Yeah.
So, looking at the pitching matchups, we do this every time. I mean, it takes us 45 minutes to get into the actual baseball talk. All right. Looking at the actual pitching matchups themselves. So, Tuesday to me is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, can I say something right out the gate, y'all? Take the under. It's Cutter Crawford versus Ronaldo Lopez. If you combine their two ERAs, talking about adding them together, it barely clears 3.
Yeah.
And I've always been big on Cutter Crawford. I think you know that. I talk about him a lot, mainly because I follow him because of fantasy. But he's been on another level this year.
Yeah, and his whip, which I know you love, is 1.07.
See, that's all I need to know.
Yeah.
That's all I need to know. If you look at a guy's whip and it's below 115, he's good. He's solid. If he's below 115, he's the real deal, especially this far into the season.
Mm-hmm.
Below 110, he's nasty.
Yeah.
Now, there's some guys that we've ran into recently. That's why when the Braves offense has kind of spit the bit, I'm like, it's not all the Braves offense. Sometimes the other team has a badass pitcher on the mound.
Yeah.
Like Glasnow's whip was well below. I want to say that when we went up against them, Glasnow's whip was, I'm gonna pull him up right now so I don't misspeak.
Pitched in 7 games this season and given up 7 earned runs. He's given up 1 home run.
Yes, so this is the kind of stuff where I'm like, let's not overreact when we don't score a bunch of runs. Because I get it, man. Fans get into this thing where they think that, they think that their team should always be scoring 8, 9 runs a game. They can't fathom that someone can shut them down. Here's the deal. Glasnow, and he's a starting pitcher. He's going deep into these games. His whip is 0.92.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Boy, I wish
nobody's getting on base.
Yeah.
And I don't have to tell you, but it's really difficult to score if you're not on base.
I've always said that. Yeah.
The only guy that changes that rule is Shohei Ohtani. He doesn't necessarily have to be on base to score. He just has to be at the plate.
Or show up at the stadium. They're like, well, let's just go ahead and give him a couple. Make sure he covers the spread.
Yeah. I was about to say, did he take the over or the under?
Yeah.
Pretty sure he took the over in all the games versus Atlanta this weekend. But back to the Tuesday night matchup, man, I'm really looking for. Look, I always look forward to every Braves game. Don't get me wrong. I'm really looking forward to Tuesday night's game specifically because Cutter Crawford, Ronaldo Lopez. So we'll come on the air and start the game at 7:20. Dude, I might be in bed by 9:00. Like that game is gonna fly by.
Yeah.
And this tells you how these two guys aren't getting run support. They're both 2-1 with ERAs 1.5.
Yeah. I mean, it's not their fault.
No.
It ain't their fault. They don't get to even score runs anymore. I mean, even the National League doesn't even let them bat. So
I haven't seen the Cutter Crawford outings as much, obviously. And I don't know if it's the bullpen blowing anything, but I can tell you what's going on with Lopez. He's not getting run support.
He's not getting run support. And I mean, if you've given up like 7 earned runs in 7 games, I'll take that. You're giving up not crooked numbers, I'll take that any day of the week. I think he's having a career season so far.
Ronaldo, this is how bad our offense is playing right now. Ronaldo Lopez on April 24th went 7 innings, gave up 1 run. It was a solo shot. 6 strikeouts. How many hits? 3 hits. And he didn't get the decision, and we had to win that game in extra innings 4-3 against the Marlins. The Marlins. His only loss this year was 5 strong, 3 earned, and that's by far his worst outing. But that's damn near a quality start, 5-3, right? And we lose this game 3-2 to Seattle because we couldn't hit our way out of a wet paper bag out west. But yeah, he's been phenomenal. What you're going to get from Ronaldo Lopez for the Red Sox fans that are watching us, he's a guy that has been. Now I know a lot of Red Sox fans will be familiar with him because he was in the American League for so long with the White Sox and whatnot, but he was a reliever the majority of the time there. The Braves signed him to a 3-year deal with a 4th-year option. He is 30 years old, and the idea when he came on was, we're going to give you a chance to be a starter, but he was okay with, if it doesn't work out, you can put me in the pen. And I was under the impression all spring long that he was heading towards the pen, but they were going to get him stretched out so that they could eventually put him back into the pen, because it's a lot easier to have a guy be stretched out as a starter and then you put him in the pen than it is to do it the other way. Because then normally you got to do one or two things. You either send him down on the farm for a month, or you're gonna bring him in to like swing man type things for a couple of weeks and then try to have him an opener and all that crap. But some guy by the name of Spencer Strider blew his elbow out and is gone for the season, so everything changes. When he was in the bullpen, he was averaging about 98 to 99 miles an hour on his fastball. He can still dial that up, but now you're seeing him more trying to conserve some energy, and he's out there bringing it still about 96, 97. Usually 95, 96 is where he's sitting at. What you're going to see from this guy is he's going to bring a four seam. He's going to rely heavily on that, and then he'll mix up the slider and the curve. Every once in a while, he'll throw a change just to keep you honest, but that's what you're looking at from this right-hander. It's going to be a four-seamer, a slider, and a curve, and then just a little bit of a changeup. And he's been really good. We get Cutter Crawford. What can we expect to see from this guy?
Crawford, he's not going to spend a lot of time blowing people away or anything like that. But he's a righty, and I'm trying to think of his best pitch. But with
stuff pulled up, I mean, it shouldn't surprise anybody. He uses his cutter.
Right. I mean, he's under Miller. What's his, God bless the pitching coach. He's got everybody throwing junk. So that's what you can expect from pretty much any Red Sox pitcher. Everything's going sideways and down. It seems to be working, but it also seems to be injuring people. So, yeah, he's going to be throwing a lot of soft stuff. He's in the 92, 93. He doesn't, I mean, he's not going to blow anybody away, but what he's doing seems to be working.
Well, I'm looking at him right now. He's got cutter, four-seamer, a sweeper, a splitter, and he's got a curve and slider, but it doesn't look like he throws them that often. It looks like his four-seam tops out at 93.
Yeah,
Cutter comes in at 88, sweeper 81, and then the curve. I'm assuming the curve is more of a 12-6 type curve, considering sweepers normally come around almost. I mean, they're almost 3 to 9, but more 2 to 8. But I'm watching video of him right now. Yeah, his curveball comes in as basically it's a 12-6.
Sounds like as far as the radar gun, it sounds a lot like Maddox. Now, I'm not comparing him to Greg Maddox before everybody Atlanta, Chicago, or the baseball world flips out. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, just straight off the radar gun, that kind of sounds.
I don't know what kind of bunker you're hiding in, buddy, but it ain't strong enough to keep the Maddox fans out.
I should have prefaced. I'm not comparing Cutter Crawford to Greg Maddox. I'm not comparing anybody to Greg Maddox, but
maybe Mike Maddox.
Maybe. No, I'm not. I'm not comparing anybody to Greg Maddox. What I'm saying is, as far as the radar gun specifically, those kind of compare. Now, is he a surgeon with it like Maddox? No, but who is really?
So we've got in the Wednesday game, and of course this is one of the more interesting matchups, mainly just because of who is going to be pitching in the game, which is Chris Sale, right?
Yeah.
And when you look at that particular matchup on Wednesday, we get Chris Sale to go up against the the Red Sox. What'll be cool about this is I'm sure we'll see a lot of video of him coming over and talking to the guys, his old teammates. But it's actually a pretty damn good pitching matchup because Nick Pavetta's coming back.
Yeah, and his whip is .82.
Right. His ERA is .82.
So is his whip.
Oh, is his whip also .82? Yeah. Okay.
Now, it's a much smaller sample size than Crawford because that has been injured. But, the first game coming back and everything, I'm always sketchy about those because it's been a long time. It's been 2-3 weeks since he's pitched, and I think it might have been he was on the 15-day IL, but it seems like a lot longer.
Yeah, I think he's been gone about a month.
Yeah.
How many outings did he have? Like 2, maybe? He went on the IL early. Because I remember we were specifically doing a show and he had just gone on the IL.
Yeah. Trying to see the date here. But, yeah, it's...
Game log. What do we have here?
1 month. So why it's saying...
He pitched twice. I was right. He pitched in... This is how long ago it was. He's not pitched in Boston because it was on the trip in Seattle and Oakland that began the season. Those were his 2 starts, and then he hasn't pitched since.
Right.
11 innings, 8 hits, 1 earned run, 13 strikeouts, and just 1 walk given up. So, I mean, but with that being said, Seattle and Oakland have 2 of the worst ranked offenses in all of baseball.
Yeah, you got to factor that in. Who did he pitch against? Right. And Oakland's not scaring anybody. And Seattle's offense, it's mediocre, So, but again, and this is first game back, and Sale's going to be juiced. He's and it's not like he has hatred or bad feelings towards Sox. This was
I'm just worried about him blowing his elbow out because he's so jacked up.
Yeah, but he's going to want to show his buddies up, and he's still friends with a lot of the Sox, and he's going to want to go out there.
And what I can tell you about what I've seen from Sale so far this year, and I followed his career for many reasons, not just because he was with Boston, but that my wife's friends with his sister.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I followed his career probably since 2013. I've been paying attention to Chris Sale. So it's been a minute. It's been a minute. It was long before he was a Red Sox. He was with the White Sox, and I was like, damn. What I can tell you is he's still a pain in the ass to hit. He's not as electric. His velocity isn't where it was in his peak in like 2017, 2018 area. But when he's going, and he's been pitching pretty well so far this year, there's probably going to be an inning where you have a chance to get to him. But other than that, he's probably going to give you about 6, sometimes even 7 strong, and strike out somewhere between a half dozen and 8. You could even get into the double digits with Sale, but he doesn't have quite his slider's still nasty.
Mm-hmm.
The velocity on the fastball is just down a tick or so, but he's still cream of the crop compared to your average MLB pitcher.
Sure. And that's what the Sale I've come to expect, And
Pavetta, for Braves fans who aren't familiar with him, I mean, you should be somewhat familiar with him because he started out with the Phillies. And he was with the Phillies when the Phillies were pretty bad. But he's been with Boston since 2020, and he's had a consistent right about a 4 ERA. Last year was actually as low as 4.04. 2 years before that, it was in the mid 4s. But I mean, he's a guy. He's another junk pitcher, where he's got like no one pitch is going to blow you away, but he's got so many damn pitches. I call all of these guys, the Cutter Crawfords, the Nick Pavettas, any of these guys that are in this neighborhood, I call them all the same thing. Poor man's Roy Halladay, right? Where they go out there and they've just got all this junk that they can throw at you, much like a Charlie Morton, where if he's got it working, it's so hard to hit because you don't know what he's coming at.
Yeah, it's tough sledding. If they have, especially if they have all of their pitches working, I mean, they make major league hitters look bad, but they have to have more than one pitch working. Sometimes they don't. So far they have, but again, he's coming off. This is his first game back. I don't know what to expect, honestly.
Yeah, rehab starts. Has he done any?
I'm sorry, rehab starts. Yeah. And
he did. Okay.
Yeah, and I think he had one. If I'm not, I know for sure he had one. But yeah, Cora really likes to have them, get at least one down there before they come up, and just they get feel of speed of the game and face real bad.
You just never know. It's more common with the pitchers, but sometimes you'll get everyday players that are like, I don't want to go to the minors. Just put me out there. I heard a story the other day. It's pretty funny. They were talking about Chipper Jones, and I guess he got an injury late in his career. I want to say his final season, maybe. Anyways, it was one of his last years he played, and he was out for quite a while, a few weeks, handful of weeks, and they were mulling over whether or not they're going to send him down to AAA for a few days, and he told him he wasn't going, and they said, well, you don't want to get the cobwebs out and get back to the speed of the game. He said, just roll me out there, I'll knock into one. So they said, all right, let Chipper be Chipper. He went out there. What did he do? He went 2 for 3 and hit a home run. The guy telling the stories, the next Brave, he goes, yeah. He goes, everyone goes, well, that's Chipper. Like, you can't, there was no setting Chipper down at that point in his career. Now, I'm sure it happens to him 2-3 years into it, he's going back down.
Right, when he wasn't real. I mean, he wasn't Chipper Jones in Atlanta.
Usually the pitchers, they do send him to something, even if it's what do they call extended spring training or whatever. And
I mean, especially Chipper wasn't going down, especially if they were going to play the Mets. At Shea. He's like, no, I believe I can do some damage up there.
Well, Chipper was probably worried they were going to send him to one of those cities that he frequented when he was coming up, and he was going to run into one of his illegitimate kids that he banged one of the trailer moms in there during the early 90s. Hi-oh!
Hey, shots fired.
All right. I mean, obviously, I'm being greedy. I want to win both games because they're in Atlanta. If it was in Boston, I would take a sweep. I mean, I would take a split. I'm being greedy mainly because we're coming off losing 5 of our last 6. And no one has beaten the damn Phillies. I mean, these bastards never stop losing. And every time I look up, they're playing one of the 3rd or 4th worst offenses in baseball. As we're recording this, we're playing the damn Giants, and Zach Wheeler's on the mound. Yeah, that's going to turn out well. Tomorrow, oh, yeah, of course. After that, the Blue Jays come to Philly, and they suck. I mean, every time I turn around, I do think I'm going to hit one thing, though. I played the under on the first 5 in this game because the Giants have some young phenom that's just be coming up. Like, he's probably not any good, but if you've never seen a pitcher before, it usually takes you a few times to go through. And then the other side is Zach Wheeler. And you got the Giants offense, which might as well just be – I mean, they might as well be going up there with toothpicks. Anyways, back to our series.
Oh, since it's in Atlanta, I'm hoping for a split, and I hope we win the game against Sale.
Well, I want some revenge because I went up to Boston last year, visited Fenway for the first time, and watched the Braves get beat 2 times. And had to sit through the rain delay during one of them. And bought $37 hot dogs, and none of them were any good.
I was never a huge fan of the Fenway, Frank. God, I know that's for Boston. They're flipping out right now. It's not my personal preference.
It's overrated as hell.
It really is. I mean, I'm sure it was good during the Great Depression, and they're like, oh, yes, the greatest thing ever. But I don't want some welfare hot dog bun. It's just Wonder Bread wrapped around it. I mean, you're fooling no one.
No. We're not that far away from another depression, so watch what you say about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably be fiending for one here in the next little bit, but as of now, no. I really would like to see, Cutter come out off his injury and do well, and it'd be nice to get a couple knocks off Sale, just friendly rivalry, There's both pitchers tomorrow. It's for me, it's too close to call. It really, who has it and who doesn't, and if they both have it, some no-name pinch hitter is going to come up and hit him.
I'm going to say it again, and I know the Braves fans want to see the bats wake up, and I do too. It's a lot more fun to call those games, I'll be honest, when balls are flying left and right. I think the under's the play in both of these games. I don't think we're going to get a lot of runs scored in either one of these games because you have two really good pitching, assuming that Pivetta is hitting on all cylinders when he comes out, right?
Yeah.
And the only way the Braves are going to start scratching across runs would be in the back end to get to that Red Sox bullpen, right?
Yes.
But the first 5 innings, I call it even Steven on both sides, just looking at the pitching matchup. I do give the Braves the nod because they've got the stronger bullpen, but we are missing Pierce Johnson. And with only 2 games being played and then surrounded by 2 off days, in theory, you can unload the back of your bullpen and be fine. But I also know how Brian Snicker likes to do things, and he'll decide on one random game that we're down by 2 in the 5th, and it's time to give up and start putting Aaron Bummer in there and Tyler Matzik, and the next thing you know, we're down by 6. So there's going to be that's the issue going. Not to mention Jackson. I mean, he feels like, he's that damn coach that wants to make sure everybody plays that day.
Well, does he go on Little League rules or something?
Yeah, well, he just, it's a long season. Yeah, I get that. But do you understand we're trying to win some of these games? If Brian Snicker was the manager of a team that had to grind it out because they didn't have a boat ton of talent, he'd be a disaster and would be fired. But he's got one of the most talented teams in baseball, so he plays the long game. He goes, well, we got to rest this guy, we got to rest that guy, and da-da-da-da-da, and da-da-da-da-da. And you're like, dude, can we go out there? We've lost 5 of our last 6. Can we get our head out of our ass and try to get going again? Because we're heading to New York. We don't need to be playing bad baseball heading in to play the Mets. I know the Mets are not what they have been in other years, but they are right on our tails. What are they, 5 games behind us? And more importantly, you're trying to catch the damn Phillies. And I don't want another one of these replays of 2022 where we fall 10 games behind and then have to try to fight our way through the entire summer.
Well, so, I don't follow the National League very much, but so Philly just caught fire because...
Philly's won 9 of the last 10, 5 in a row. But with that being said, here's an idea of, I'm not saying Philly's not a good baseball team. They are a good baseball, very good baseball team. But listen to who they've played. Giants, Angels, Padres, Reds are solid, White Sox, Rockies, Pirates, Cardinals. I mean, that's.
But they are winning those games.
Yes, but if you wrote up, if you decided to write a book called Crapola, you would start with that damn list of teams I just put in there.
Well,
so but Crapola, the Reds are a little more talented. They're just not playing well right now, but they split that series, and it was a road series, so fair enough. But Padres are always overrated. The Angels suck. The Giants' offense is terrible. So if they fall, the Giants can beat you, but not if they fall behind by 2 runs, because then it's over. White Sox are awful. Rockies are awful. They were on a 9-game homestand. I'm sorry, 10-game homestand against the White Sox, Rockies, and Pirates.
Well, whoever makes their
schedule.
Meanwhile,
We're going, come on, Dodgers, let's rock and roll, baby. We had to play the Dodgers. We played Cleveland last weekend. Dodgers this past weekend. Those are 2 of the best records in baseball.
We hit a very hot Minnesota team this week. I mean, Minnesota's playing good baseball right now. We lost that series. Won the series against the Cubs, and then we won.
You broke their winning streak. The Twins, I didn't even realize it until the day of. Actually put money on the Red Sox yesterday, money line. It's like 12 in a row. That ain't lasting. I'm going all in, baby. Like the Twins, their offense is terrible. But I saw a stat that they broke some kind of – they tied or broke some kind of record that it, in comparison, like 3 or maybe 4 teams have done it in the last 120 years of baseball of and I wish I had the number in front of me, but it was consecutive games of their starting pitcher giving up 2 earned runs or less. And it was around the 2 weeks plus range. It was something like 15 or 16 games in a row they had done that.
Yeah, they were a buzzsaw. We beat
2 of the teams they mentioned was dead ball era. So I can't even count that.
I mean, we scored 2 touchdowns and a field goal against the Cubs this week, 17-0. We beat up on the Cubs. We beat up on San Francisco, which, again, they're not great. But then people were saying, well, the Sox needed to beat Minnesota. They're not that great. But then the other side of that coin is they're hot right now. I mean, they're like Hansel. They're so hot right now. And I'm going to tell you, I mean, they beat us 5-2, 3-1, and then we won yesterday 5-9.
That stat that I threw out at you, you would have thought that the Mariners, that the Twins had played the schedule that I just told you the Phillies did. Like if you told me the Phillies went 9 games in a row with 2 runs or less because they played the White Sox, Rockies, and Pirates at home, I'd be like, well, take it with a grain of salt. But Seattle was doing it. I mean, hell, the Braves came into I said Seattle. Minnesota was doing it on the road at home. They I know you always have to look at who did they play, but I still think that was a big win yesterday for Boston to make sure you didn't get swept.
Yeah.
Anytime you don't get swept, you don't necessarily love what happened, but you'll take it because it's a long season.
If you're going to win only 1 game out of the series, you want it on getaway day because it makes the fight so much better. But, I mean, we scored 9 runs against them yesterday. But, again, that's the way it goes. When they have a streak like that, then just all of a sudden, it's Bull Durham. The wheels just come off,
Right.
But I don't want to play them again. I'll be honest. They took it to us.
It's a little surprising that they won 12 in a row this early in the season and they're not sitting in first place. That's how bad they were.
Yeah.
So before that win,
wow,
they were 7-13.
Oh.
And they'd played some bad teams, and folks were starting to think, dude, can we talk about the fact that the Astros, dude, they're done. I'm done.
Only
I'm
prediction.
done giving them the.
By the way, I just want to say that.
What's that?
That I got right was I thought Houston was just too long in the tooth, and this season was not going to be great for them. But the other side of that coin, I did pick Toronto to win the AL East. So what do I know?
Oh yeah, you did do that. Oh, Toronto. Toronto feels like a roster that if you looked at it, you're like, it's not a bad roster. But something goes on in that Blue Jays organization the last couple of years where all this talent that they have on their everyday roster, they're just not putting up runs.
And they got an offense. I mean, they got players, there.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I don't understand.
Detroit Tigers, who, by the way, have a miserable offense, because I picked them as my wild card to be able to shock and awe everybody, and they're hanging in there in the Central. But I knew they're going to do it through pitching. And Tarek Skubal right now, if I'm voting, he's winning the AL Cy Young. But the Tigers' offense has been pathetic. They've still scored more runs than the Blue Jays. How was that possible? Make that make sense.
Yeah, I kind of pooped the bed on that selection. Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at, see, what do they have? They have 128. Are they the worst offense in baseball? They're one of the only ones that they're worse than White Sox have been hideous, but they've actually picked it up a little bit recently. Rockies and the Cardinals. Oh, and the Pirates. That's it. Even the Giants have scored more runs than the Blue Jays. Your average baseball fan can't name 3 guys on the San Francisco Giants roster. And if they are naming 3 of them, I bet 2 of them are pitchers. You can't name them. And they've got more. They got more than the Blue Jays, and yet they put that damn fat ass lug of a wannabe his dad, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. on the MLB The Show cover.
Well, he did have a pretty good season,
Dude, what does Ronald Acuna Jr. have to do to be on MLB The Show?
I'm not
Does
saying
he have to cure cancer? Is that what it is? The guy, he is the definition of let's sell a video game. 40 home runs, 70 steals, first one ever to do it. And they go, ooh, we're going to put Vladimir Guerrero Jr. on here. Great. You're going to put a designated hitter on there because you can't put him in the field. He kicks the ball in the dugout half the time. I mean, they try to do it, but it doesn't work out well. I digress.
Oh, remember when Pedroia won and they put him on the cover? The commercials that were coming. That one guy was talking crap about him, and Pedroia's like, have you ever seen an MVP who hasn't won a batting title? He goes, you mean before you?
I do remember that commercial now.
Yeah.
But the Astros, I'm done bringing up the Astros until they get within spitting distance of a playoff spot.
Well, they're 7 out right now.
Yeah, they have the same record as the Angels, and the Angels don't have Michael Trout, and they lost Shohei Ohtani to free agency.
Yeah. Mike Trout's done for the season, right?
No, but he's gone for a long time.
Yeah.
He had surgery, and they're expecting him back sometime this year. My guess is going to be after the All-Star break. That guy just can't stay healthy.
No.
He was phenomenal. He was off to a great start.
Yeah.
It happened again. All right, let's go ahead and start wrapping this up. Vaughn Grissom, got to talk about Vaughn.
Yes.
He came up on Friday, then he had the day off on Saturday, and I'm like, really?
But
you got the whole game. You got to have the day off. I get it. That's the game plan. They don't want to Braves do that a lot with the other players as well. I remember them doing that specifically with Ozzy Albies, not this year, but they did it a couple of years ago when he had a knee issue. What's your initial reaction to Vaughn Grissom?
Well, this is a very small sample size for me.
Sure.
I don't know him like you do, but all the things, all the things you said to expect when he's on the field, he can be electric out there, and
I saw what he got an RBI double yesterday.
Yeah, he hit 2 doubles and he got an RBI.
2 doubles, okay.
Yeah. So that's a good day, 2 for 4 with an RBI.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. And the good news is if he can stay healthy, I think that's kind of what we can expect from him. I don't think he's going to hit 30 home runs or anything, but you don't have to still be successful. And boy, do we need some help in the middle of the infield. We need like legitimate second baseman and shortstops. And
now, as far as defensively, I don't know what you're going to get at him. As far as if you got him at second, I just don't think he's going to be an embarrassment. He's going to be okay. But what you'll put up with the fact that he's not the greatest defensive second baseman because of the ability or the ceiling that we think he has with his bat. Maybe not this year, but I think by next year, Vaughn Grissom is a perfect candidate to be 2020, maybe even 2025 club.
See, I don't know. We just need defense so badly, Sox, they can kick the ball. They can bad news Barrett so fast and everything. So I'm really hoping he's steady. He goes through it, no injuries, and can play the position well.
Yeah, he's not. Well, what I'm telling you is that he's got good range, but what has always been his issue at second base is that he sometimes doesn't make the easy play. But all in all, like I said, you're going to take it because of what he can do at the plate. So you're not willing to take a weak hitting second baseman who's kicking the ball in the dugout, right?
Right.
You got to give me something.
Yeah.
Ozzy Albies is not the best defensive second baseman in the league. He's solid. He's okay. I think some people are a little too down on him. I think Ozzy does a fine job. Ozzy Albies can also hit 30 home runs, so you're okay with that. And that I think it's going to be very similar with Vaughn Grissom. I think he's a guy that when he's gets to the up of his prime, 3-4 years from now, you may be talking about 25, 30 home runs a year from the second base position. You can't beat that.
No.
He definitely has the athleticism and his stolen bases. Now, I don't know long term in a 162 game season what kind of number he can put out, but my guess is 20 stolen bases is very doable, especially in today's game where they've changed the rules.
Yeah, how old is he? He's young, right?
He's He's 24 probably.
One thing, he went 1 for 5. He scored 2 runs with 1 double. Sorry,
okay. I thought that's what I saw.
Yeah, I switched that. I misread that. Dyslexia kicked in. But I mean, what I'm curious about is if he was going to, pride himself on getting better at his defense and stuff like that. And it's not like
he will. The one thing I always got from him is that he seems like he's a pretty damn hard worker. I don't think he's a guy that's in there just slumping it. And the other thing about him is too, he should fit in well in any clubhouse because he's a very outgoing kid, but he's not a jerk off. He's not someone you're going to cringe worthy. He's just a kid. He's got a good personality, $1 million smile. Always, every time I saw him and every interaction I ever saw with him was always everybody loved him. I know him and Michael Harris were very close. They were very good friends. Everybody loved him. So if he's doing that in one spot. I don't see why that wouldn't translate into the next locker room. You know, just because he didn't come up with one of these guys, I think he's going to be. I think him and Rafi are going to put together some very exciting baseball. May not always be exciting in the right way. Like sometimes you might go, "Oh God, this combo, what the hell?" But I think they're going to make up for it in the offensive categories, and the athletic. Here's the thing: if you got a guy who's an athlete, he's gonna figure it out. He'll be all right.
Yeah,
as long as he doesn't get like the yips or some crap, right?
Yeah,
that would be my only concern with any player, not specifically him.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, and that kind of brings me to my walk-off because it's going to be.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do walk-offs. We've been here long enough.
My walk-off is I'm just super excited about the next two games. I watch all the Red Sox games, but these two, that pitching matchup tomorrow night, man, is going to be. I think it's going to be something to see. So, if you're just not an avid Sox fan, watch that game tomorrow night, and you'll see some good baseball. Hopefully, we come out of it with a sweep, but I'll take a split.
Yeah, my walk-off is obviously catch us on Braves Country Radio, pitch-by-pitch, play-by-play. 7:20 first pitch the Tuesday and Wednesday night, and then it's off to New York. We obviously got to get a split. We can't get swept at home. Even though it's a 2-game spot, we can't get swept at home. Not after what the hell happened out there on the West Coast. But my biggest thing going into this series is number one with the bullet. I want to start seeing our guys, and we've got a handful of them that are slumping right now. Dude, eat some pitches. I'm so sick and tired of watching Michael Harris ground out or pop out after 1 or 2 pitches. Dude, the idea isn't to try to ambush, because if you think that the other team doesn't realize you're trying to ambush them, you don't know what the hell you're doing. Because that's why you're continuing to slump. Because you're getting junked just off the plate. Because they know, hey, they get all that data back and they go, hey, this guy's swinging early. Don't give him anything early. I don't know why Kevin Seitzer can't get that through to these guys, but since I don't know the beginning of time, I've never seen the Braves really go there and eat pitches until last year. Last year, I saw that entire offense eat pitches. And what happened? We tied the all-time home run record. If you eat pitches, you eventually get to see that pitcher's repertoire over and over and over. And the next thing you know, you get something you can handle. But dude,
that might be record for the longest walk-off in history, by the way. Just saying.
Probably. But I'm really pissed. I'm really pissed off after losing 5 of 6.
Can't tell,
especially because it was on the West Coast. So I was getting up and I was getting to bed at like 2 a.m. every damn night. Oh, by the way, my alarm's going off at 5. I still got to go to work. They don't give a crap. The Braves are on the West Coast. All right, dude. Go to hell and all that stuff. Go Braves, baby. Go Braves. We'll start to end off with the chop, and then we'll hit you with the Red Sox outro as we what the hell, man. Sweat. And, oh, by the way, before I get to say it, screw Shohei Ohtani. I don't want to see that SOB ever again, man. Not a fan.
You're in Braves country.
Ninth, 5-1 Red Sox. Sale winds, he fires. Swing and a miss, strike 3, it's over. The Red Sox have won the World Championship. And the Red Sox become the first team in the 21st century with 4 World Championships. Can you believe it?
You're in Braves country.